Breaking news!
I want to get some bragging rights off the fact that I called this. I knew this was gonna happen, you know what I mean? I said, I think a few videos back, that if the Odyssey doesn't do as well or have as much as a cultural impact as Citizen Vigilante, which could be honestly, this is the messed up part. The numbers are skewed because Citizen Vigilante is free. It's online. You could just like go on Twitter and watch it. Sorry, X. And the Odyssey's in the theaters, and day after day, like post after post, you see the show, the smiling clown, if you will, the laughing clown, that metaphor, laughing on the outside, crying on the inside, and yeah, very much applies to the Odyssey. It's Let's be fair, okay? Christopher Nolan is good at what he does, and the movie has its merit. Now, that out of the way, I've come to terms with it a long, long time ago, and that is you see things a different way, like from other people, right? Like the purposeful nature of the casting choices, like the idea of like basically cartoonifying and demystifying the whole legend of it to this like soap opera, almost like made for DVD type of like thing, but like also at the same time, like the amount of money, the budget behind it is like this pushing of a dream that it can't materialize because I see what he's trying to get at, right? And people are going to dislike me for saying it, or maybe thinking I'm misinterpreting it. But this is how I see it. Um, for generations, right? For let's say decades, you had cinema movies that predominantly featured people of ethnicities, specific ethnicities, and it was always positive, almost picturesque portrayal of like how people live, the costumes, their bodies, the muscles and stuff, and then like to have a movie like the Odyssey where it is inevitably just to break all those stereotypes down and like almost just make it seem as if the legend is more approachable to the general audience, but by doing that, it inevitably alienates not only its core audience, like the people who actually care about this shit, but also like the human race as a whole, because we're seeing the idea pushed upon you, right? Now, I don't think this lady who plays Helen of Troy is ugly by any means, but it's such a juxtaposition to have someone like that playing that role, and then like everyone's like, okay, we're okay with it. She's perfect for that role. I couldn't think of anybody better than her to play it, and you're just like thinking to yourself, there's just no like real difficulty with a black woman playing Helen of Troy, right? But like it's kind of like a slap in the face when you take someone of such ethnicity and then try to say like, okay, this is what the legend was like depicting her as, even though it's an inversion, like a deep inversion of it. And then the inclusion of Travis Scott. And I have a theory behind this, right? And no one's gonna like me saying this, but it's the whole corrosion of like the perfect life where you have two parables, right? You have the epic And like, okay, no one's gonna like me saying this, but like, I gotta be honest. I did not watch the Dune. Like, I did not. I don't have anything against it. Like, I like Timothy Chalamet. I think he's a cool actor, whatever, right? But I just did not watch the Dune series because I don't know, just didn't watch it. Nothing, not like I have anything against watching it, or I'll never watch it. It's just I have yet to, believe it or not, watch it. That being said, two parables of like tales between like visions of like the past, right? Like an author's vision versus like a legend that has like basically surpassed the age of antiquity and stuff, like the Bronze Age, medieval ages and stuff, and to this day has perpetuated, if you will. And then to take that and to break it down like one of the oldest legends, right? Which, to be fair, it isn't the first or the last time that's going to happen, but it's just like to take note of, right? And I think there's like a huge reason behind this, right? Like the whole inclusion of Travis Scott versus like the multi-million dollar budget, possibly billion dollar budget of like these Dune movies, and like how Hollywood fights these ideals, right? Because like in no way, shape, or form is the Dune series um racist, to my knowledge, right? But again, like it's not like the casting choices of Dune, you would honestly argue would be more or less accurate to the novel. And I would like argue that it's a very good casting choice, right? And that being said, like you look at the Odyssey, and what do you get? It's like an everybody's movie. Like you have, Travis Scott for the young people. You have Zendaya and her husband in the same movie. I kid you not. You have the guy from Twilight for like for the girls, for like the girl crushes and shit. You have Matt Damon for all the dads. The dads and like the old ladies, and like, oh shit, it's Matt Damon. It's that good old Matt Damon. I still got it. You got Ellen Page for the LGBT ABC 123, and then you got um uh okay, whatever, right? Like you have the gender swap, and then you have fucking, what's her name again? Charlize Theron. Why did I forget her name? And it's like you kind of get this idea that like the casting choices for this movie were less about their acting capability, minus like Anne Hathaway. Like people could argue that Anne Hathaway is like whatever. I think she's kind of hot, and she's also like kind of a good actress. Sorry, uh, people can debate me on that, whatever. But like, this isn't like one of these movies that was meant to be remembered. It's one of these movies that is meant to make a statement that, and this is the unfortunate reality, like I did not want this to be the case, right? But let me give you a little backstory as to how I reached this conclusion. So I would say around early 2000s, mid 2000s, there was a huge rise in piracy, like movies, music, specifically Napster. Like you had other like file sharing programs. It was very, very, very common back then. And like the movie industry was losing millions of dollars because of this. Because it was just like you can basically get a multi-million dollar budget movie and just pirate it, and then like you don't have to go to the movie theater and do jack shit. You're just like, oh, okay. And people will do this so often that it was the case. Like you would have these like people going into these movie theaters. They have like a recording thing device, whatever, and but you hear like people in the background, like the echoing sound and shit. Like the sound isn't like the quality of sound that's coming out of your speakers is more like a quality of sound that's being recorded. It's like, and it was just like common. Like you just like search for like, oh my god, you got the perfect rip, DVD to rip. Oh shit! And like, yo, they weren't having it. And then inevitably, they got the guy. What was his name? Was it Bearshare? Fucking Mega Upload or some shit like that. Anyway, so it's just like some like mega file sharing site, and this guy who was basically, you know, the main honcho, and then they federally charged him for God knows how long and how much money, and it's just, a forgotten page in history. But I gotta bring it up because that was the mark of the end of an era. Like, it was like you had to either put like a lot, like a significant amount of money into these Hollywood movies, like case in point, the Odyssey, these Marvel movies, specifically the Marvel movies that have like a moral uh wedge to grind or whatever, to and they just like have to beat down on you hard, like, oh, you're racist, or oh, you got to think about these marginalized groups and shit like that. And then it like inevitably evolved into the Odyssey, where this kind of rhetoric becomes mainstream, right? Like, make no mistake, these casting choices were not only meant to piss people off, but also mark the end of the film era. Like I said, like, I did not want this to be the case, but when piracy hit, there was also another thing, and I remember specifically because like Transformers #2 came out, and everyone's like talking, it's total trash, and then Michael Bay's like, nah, man, I had a writer's block. We like writer's strike or some shit like that, so we couldn't have a good movie. And then I realized that, like, yo, this is going downhill. This inevitably, like, these movies are going to fail. And you look at like movies, like the most successful movies out there have huge budgets, like, and it's like it's not uncommon to see them flash, product placement, because that's how much money goes into them and shit, right? And that's how it was coming to an end. The era of movies, of film, of cinema just slowly dying off, right? Like, piracy, I think, marked the end of the television era, because it's like nobody wants to put up with commercials anymore. Nobody wants to put up with like even waiting for the next episode to come out. Like, I'll just watch it in Japanese type shit. And now we have streaming. Now we have like YouTube and everything. It's ridiculous. So the Odyssey is very much a mark on history, the end of cinema, and the beginning of a new era. Because when you look at the success of the Odyssey, obviously more people are going to want to watch it because it, like, openly speaking, like, the Odyssey is just a feel good movie. Oh, you get to see Zendaya, you get to see that lady who plays Eleanor Troy, who's, not Eleanor Troy. Like, it's just, and Travis Scott, and like Spider-Man, and fucking hell, and like the guy from Twilight, aka like the new Batman and shit. Like, it's very, very much like up against possibly two of the worst movie releases out there. First, you have Furious, which is like one of those genuine movies where you have the fighting choreography, and it's so well done that it really does put a lot of, like, and I don't think it's by intention. I just think it's by quality. It's just so good. It puts other movies like it to shame. Not intentionally. I don't think it's doing it on purpose. I just think it's just that good, right? And then you're gonna release the Odyssey after Furious. Like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, me as a guy, like, I have fucking a dick and balls. I got one hand Furious, and on the other hand, the Odyssey, right? I gotta have a girl come up to me and be like, "Oh, you know what? I just want to go see the Odyssey because I want to go see, the dresses or like whatever the scenes or like what all the fuss is all about and shit. It's just like, yeah, but like, is there a reason why a movie like this needs to make money? Like I joked about like um how Christopher Nolan got into this like whole idea of like, liking this like alternative urban culture to like demystify and like grandstand moralize on everybody what cinema, what movies should be, rather than like something that entertains you. It's like something that reinforces this ideal upon you that we got to get into it, right? Like the ideal that everybody is all like happy and can be controlled and willing to be controlled, you know? The willingness to let people control you. Taking the soul out of your fucking body and making you dry, hollow. Because we also have to talk about what happened to Andrew Tate. That's right. I left it out on the first one. Like I just like implicated that he just like got locked up and shit, but it's actually a lot worse because I was watching, a bunch of videos about it. And apparently he's denied bond. So he's not getting any bail. He's not getting bailed out. He's like locked up. And he's in solitary confinement. 5 by 12. I don't think it's that bad, but the 5 part, you know what I mean? That solitary confinements. Yeah. Living that life, man. This is what happens when you talk all that smack and you get all these people sweet on the words that you say in their ears, right? They're just like, oh, you're the man, you're the shit. Yeah, women should be like this, women should be like that. And he had videos. He was talking about, prepubescent, underage girls, and then inevitably, gravity struck him like a fucking lightning bolt. And he's gonna be doing hard ass time. Hard ass time. It's that realization that not only is he doomed, but he doomed an entire movement of false men, of weak men behind him. Because it's like, it's one thing if you like previously liked them. Like, let's say, okay, I like his cars, or oh, I like his outfits, or this or that. But you never really asked what facilitated it all. And he like left such a huge breadcrumb trail that the FBI and all these other entities picked up on it, and they just said fuck this guy, because there was this theory that he was going to help out terrorist groups, anti-Israel group, like of the like, right? This whole Heil Hitler, issue, this and that with Sneeko and this and that, all these guys, clavicular shit. This whole like fucking movement of decay, decay. People like losing their entire futures in a mere matter of moments, like Sneeko, clavicular. Now Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate got it the hardest though, because like Sneeko, whatever, he's talking about like this like rah bullshit, but like he's not gonna do time in penitentiary. Actually, no, yeah. He's gonna do that because the UK has that for sure. The crazy part about that though is that, like, let's say you're just previously hanging with him, like, and even if you didn't know, or you're like, somewhat vaguely aware of his previous activities, it's just not good enough an excuse. Like, outrage culture, right? It's made people ravenous, They're fucking feral. They're goddamn. They got fucking internet rabies. Okay, they're fucking foaming at the goddamn mouth. They're not gonna forgive this kind of shit. It's the same thing with the grooming gangs. It's the same thing with the whole Kirpan incident with Bikram Digwa, and now subsequently all these other like incidents and shit. It's this idea that enough is enough, and people are just gonna take it anymore. Like this kind of like psychopathy of like it's me or you type shit. And I don't think people should take well to an extent. Like for Andrew Tate, I think they should take it that far. And then that's why the justice system got involved. With Sneeko, I think he should just get into the middle ground. Obviously, like it's not about like Islam taking over. It's more like you're insecure about your life and the lives of, a lot of illegal immigrants, Muslims in general. Like they're leaving UK or other countries. They're in fear of their lives. And like, while as that is unfair, it is a product of like, countless years of terrorism done against the local population. And it's not their fault, the Muslims that are forced to leave, obviously. But again, like this is what happens when you have people who have to deal with like a constant influx of people that they can't trust, part of a religion that preaches this kind of doctrine, this kind of idea, you know whether it's subtly or overtly, and it's both. And there's a problem to be with that, right? And then you have like the Sikh guy, right? Like losing his shit in Good Life Fitness. And I gotta touch on this. And this is why I made this video like 30 minutes, right? People are gonna bring up the Kirpan because of like the whole insecurity of Henry Nowak's murder in the UK. And also this guy's like he has these videos of him like literally like doing stabbing motions, and like the people are concerned, right? That being said, is that really the issue at play here? And yes, obviously, like it is a point of contention, but then there's also the aspect of what is he doing in the gym, right? Like he's doing the whole Instagram baddie thing. If you go to the gym, you take a picture of yourself shirtless. You're like for the chicks, for the gram, and then like you're lifting these weights, and everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. You're doing this. I'm not telling you. Nobody's telling you to do this, and you can't even lift it properly. And I'm like thinking to myself, um, it's not necessarily because of that thing that you have with you. It's because like I think that like if people told you the truth, it would just like hurt, it would break you, you know what I mean? Like it would hurt you so deep down inside because it's an automatic assumption, right? That you're on gear. So how do you skirt around that? Well, oh yeah, the concern about the Kirpan, nobody really cares about it. Like, come on, think about it like this: like, has it been a problem in the past before? No, and people want to bring up Henry Noah, and they're in the right to an extent to do so, because whatever, concerned people. But that being said, and I'm not trying to like vouch for the Sikhs or anything. Like, as far as Canada is concerned, I can just Google search it, but I don't feel like it right now. But I have yet to hear about one, at least currently, right? And again, I'm not vouching for the Sikhs, but I'm just trying to say, right? This isn't about the Kirpan. Nobody, like, they think that they say that, but it's more or less about if you actually see the way he lifts, it's weird. It's amateur at best, and you're like looking at his body, and it's such a divide between reality and the image that you're seeing. Like you're seeing an amateur lifter with a body that is, of a seasoned person, right? Like a person who's been working out a long time. And this person has been working out a long time. So that also raises the eyebrow, the question, why do you lift like that? Like, and the answer is actually quite simple. Beyond the gear and shit, It's an ego thing. Like, and I used to, well, I still do it, right? Because I don't like to count to like 300. Sometimes I'll do like a lot more sit-ups than I should, right? Now, does this benefit me? I mean, weight loss wise, yes, because it's more calories burnt, so my waist thins out more, and it's more visible. But that being said, if we're talking strictly about building the muscle in the first place, like the whole point of exercising, of working out, then no, I'm just wasting energy for absolutely no reason, and I'm actually not going to get the results I want because I'm injuring myself beyond the normal capacity of my ability to repair the damage that I'm doing to myself. Right? Now, take that and apply it to a guy who's basically like swinging two 60-pound dumbbells around, right? Or they could be, heavier. I think it was 60 if I remember the video correctly. And it's just so amateur. You're like I'm thinking to myself, like, how the fuck does he even look like this? And this is the woe of gear, of false men, of Sneeko, of Andrew Tate, of Buy My Plan, of like this and that, you know. It's all in the snake oil salesman trying to sell you a better life they never had. They never had it. It's crazy too because it's not new. Like what this guy's doing in the gym, it's not new. It's almost like a cultural norm of the false strongman. And let's be clear about steroids, right? Once you get to that level where steroids are giving you the edge to repair the damage and work out, so it's like two-pronged, like it's two-sided. And then you take that advantage on top of the hormone changes, testosterone, and all that shit that comes with the territory, right? Vascularity, etc., etc. There is a realization of the extent of their humanity because they required that to be the man that they never were. And this is an important distinction to make because we all have to think about what we leave behind for our children and shit, right? Like our genetic capability, I say gene expression, right? So to elaborate, I basically mean what you can do given the capacity that you have naturally and stuff. And I alluded to me doing, well, my friend giving me some anti-estrogens. I don't know, was it Winstrol or some shit like that back in the day, which were like caps. And I did suffer from a hormonal imbalance as a teenager, to be fair. So like that was my excuse to use it. But again, like once you take those needles, once you take those like TRT, whatever uh, requirements, you know, thing that you need to get to that level where it just replaces the man that you're not, then you're dealing with the end, like the end. Like you see Andrew Tate, he's balding. You see Tristan Tate, he has his little top hat, so like want to be businessman, gangster type shit. Takes it off. Cop takes it off. He's balding, right? And this isn't me knocking. Well, it is me knocking on bald people because like these guys are on my age, so I'm allowed to do that. And then Sneeko, he's not gonna keep his hair. It's gone for him. Like all these guys, these inflatable guys and shit, right? This Kirpon guy, this like, what was his name? Gurntap or some shit like that. Whatever, right? Like it's all, I think, relative in the idea that they want this thing that they can't have, and we all have to be appreciative of what we have Because if we can achieve more naturally than they can artificially, it's up to us, at least to try. I think that's worth it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favor. Don't get too famous. Something bad might happen to you. All right, take care.